It's time for Tech Talk on KLOE, KKCI, KWGB, and the rest of the Rockingham Radio Network. I'm Curtis Duncan. Today we'll learn about a trainer, not somebody that trains you how to run in the races or anything, but a team trainer, a real one. Holly Wilcoxon is with us today, and she works for the Goodland High School Cowboys and Cowgirls and the Northwest Tech Mavericks, the Lady Mavs and the guys. Holly, nice to have you here. What is a trainer? Explain to our listeners.
Athletic trainers are kind of a hybrid of multiple things, but we are accredited healthcare professionals, and we provide multiple different services. So, for example, there's 5 domains in what we do. So we do injury and illness prevention, wellness promotion, examination, assessment and diagnosis, immediate and emergency care, therapeutic intervention, and healthcare administration and professional responsibility. So we kind of encompass multiple things, but that's the 5 domains. When I tell people that, or if I have a little kid that comes up to me, I'm not going to explain that because they don't know what that is. And so the layman terms of what I say is we're a hybrid of multiple things, but we specialize in athletics primarily. There's different settings that an athletic trainer can go into. It just determines, or kind of is whatever setting you want to go into, but primarily we just, wherever there's a risk of injury, an athletic trainer is going to be there. And so our job is to help prevent the injury, and then if a injury happens, then we are there to help take care of it. And so we have the tools and diagnostic evaluation stuff to do everything that we need to do to determine what the injury is and then how to care for it.
I notice on the football games, say on the Super Bowl, the teams each have many, many trainers. And boy, as soon as a player is down on the field or it doesn't get up or hobbles across, these guys and gals are right on top of it. 3 or 4 usually on each player, sometimes more.
Yes. So professional sports, obviously, they're going to have multiple athletic trainers. I've worked for the Olympics. There's multiple trainers there. And so it's a great, like I said, where there's a risk of injury, you want to have an athletic trainer. And so with the NFL, there's going to be multiple of them. And like I said, the cool thing about athletic trainers is that, like you see in the NFL, the second that an athlete goes down, an athletic trainer is immediately there. We know how to assess. There's, on the field, tests and stuff that we can do to determine if an athlete is safe to go back out to play. And then we know what to do to get them healthy again. And so I think my job's really cool. A lot of people don't know much about it. And so I'm here to, promote for the profession. And like I said, March is National Athletic Training Month. And so I just want to really spread the word.
Trainers are not a dime a dozen. There aren't many trainers these days. Is that right?
Yes. So especially in rural Kansas where we are, you're not going to see a whole lot of athletic trainers out here. In fact, there's only about 58,000 certified athletic trainers in the country. But the problem now is that it's not a bad idea, but it used to be where if you go to school, you'll get your bachelor's degree in athletic training, you'll take your national boards exam, and then after that, if you pass it, you'll become certified, and then you can go work in the state, become licensed if the state requires it. You can work as an athletic trainer. However, now, I think that it's a good idea, but a lot of people aren't going into it because now it's a master's program. So you'll go and get your bachelor's, and then you'll have to take an extra 2 years to get your master's in athletic training, which a lot of people just don't want to do. And so I think that's why we're seeing a shortage in athletic trainers. But there is that extra 2 years that you'll need to go into to get your master's, and then same process. Once you graduate, you'll take your national boards exam. If you pass it, then you can go work in whatever state you choose. If the state requires for you to be licensed, then you'll become licensed, and then you can work. And so unfortunately, there is a huge shortage. Even on the college side in the Jayhawk Conference, there is a huge shortage of athletic trainers. And so we are trying to kind of band together to help each other out. There's been positions that have stayed open for multiple months because, especially in rural Kansas, you just can't get them out here. And so, like I said, I want to promote for this profession and get the word out there that, athletic trainers are important, and so to value them and to pay them well, it's very important. And so I think it's, that's a big factor when you got open positions out here in rural Kansas, to consider that, when you're trying to hire somebody. So
you mentioned Olympics. How did you get involved in that, and what was that about? Let's discuss that.
Yeah, so I actually applied for the program for the Olympic Training Center out in Colorado Springs. They accepted me, and so I've been out there 3 times to work with the Olympic teams. I'm in the medical pool for USA Wrestling right now, and so I'm waiting to see if because they're waiting to get the world team named. Once they get the world team named here in a couple weeks, they're going to name the healthcare professionals that will go to the Paris Olympic Games, and so hopefully I'll be in the mix of that. But like I said, I've been out there 3 times to work with the Olympic teams. I've worked with USA Boxing, USA Wrestling, the sprint cycling team, swimming. Worked with multiple Olympians. It was a really cool experience out there in Colorado Springs, and so I hope to go back and continue to work with the teams. So.
Sure, and I'm not being nosy. What's the pay level for this?
For athletic training, it kind of depends on where you go. So if you think about Texas and how big sports are down there, they're paying the big bucks, and so anywhere between $50,000 to $80,000 for an athletic trainer down there. High schools, I have a lot of athletes that are from Texas, and they're telling me, their athletic trainers getting paid well. Up here, it's not as much. You can see it anywhere between $30,000 to $50,000. But like I said, it kind of depends on where you're at, where you're located. That's pretty much a big factor. And then the school, obviously, that you work for. So,
is there more guys than gals, or more gals than guys being sports trainers?
It's predominantly a female career, but there is males in there. The graduating class that I was in, there was 4 boys and 3 of us girls, and so I think it's kind of evening out. I think I don't know, some would rather have a male, but females are really coming through in this profession, and so like my athletes know, I get really passionate during games and stuff, and so I think females can really come through. So I think it's coming out even with females and males coming into the profession. So
I understand you went to the wrestling nationals with the Northwest Tech College team. Tell us about that. Yeah,
so we left. I left Thursday, went out to Council Bluffs, Iowa. The wrestling team met them out there, and then we wrestled for 2 days, and it was a great tournament. There's something special about JUCO wrestling, and I absolutely love that tournament. That's my 3rd time going out there without having, home events to stay back for. So I really enjoyed the tournament. The boys wrestled great, and it was super fun. I was, like you kind of said with the NFL, where athletic trainers are right there on the sideline. That's where I was the entire tournament with all my boys, and so that's where you'll find me.
Now, when you get ready for a tournament, do you have to pack your medical bags, your tape bags, make sure you've got all the tape and the cold packs, the hot packs and everything? Is that something besides your clothing and other things?
Yes. So in my med kit, there is multiple different types of tape. I think we've kind of come a long ways from a couple years ago with the type of tape that we provide, but the different types of tape, obviously any type of biofreeze or topical stuff I can put on the skin, medication, let's see what else, any emergency care stuff. And so I'll have my stethoscope and blood pressure cuff. I'll have my airway breather, all that. Like I said, since we are trained in it, I'm going to have it in my huge med kit, which shout out to my boss for getting me a med kit on wheels, because with all that stuff in my bag, it became a little heavy. And so now I got it rolling on wheels. So
how tough is that now, do you fly or do you drive out?
We drive out for the most part, yeah. With the Olympics, if I were to go, we would obviously fly. A lot of their competition is international, but for the college and high school, we travel on road.
When do you know the Olympic information?
I think here in a couple months, they'll have the world team trials, and then after that, we'll once they have the world team named, then they'll start setting stuff up for the Paris Games. And so
good. Well, keep us posted on that.
Yeah,
I think that would be exciting to have a contact over in Paris with the Olympics.
Yeah, the Olympic athletes are some of the most humble and kindest people I've ever met, and so it would be an honor to be there with them. When I was out there in Colorado Springs, like I said, I've worked with multiple athletes in different sports. They are the just most humble, down-to-earth people I've ever met, and it's just the coolest thing ever. So I would love to go back if I could.
Well, good luck. I hope that works out.
Thank you.
Do we have a lot of school counselors that are aware that there is a big need for trained trainers for sports?
Yes. So I talked at the career fair at the Goodland High School, and one of the counselors, she told me that, because I think that students get to pick what group they go in, and so they get the option of what career path they want to go, and so they can choose athletic training or physical therapy or whatever. And so I think I was told that my group was one of the bigger groups with students in it, which I did have about 10 plus students in each group, and we had about 6 groups rotate through. So I was, happy to get as many students in as I could, just so I could kind of promote the profession. And, I think they are kind of interested in it if, because we know that athletics in your career doesn't last forever. And so if they're passionate about athletics and they want to go into the healthcare field, this would be a great career path. And like I said, there's multiple different settings that someone can go into. It doesn't have to be athletics or in the secondary school or whatever. There's options as far as like going into a PT clinic or the military setting. There's performing arts setting, obviously high school, college, universities, like I said, professional sports, the Olympics, hospitals. There's all sorts of places that they can go into if, the secondary school or college isn't what they want.
Amazing. Now, do you have statistics that you can share with us on trainers and the trainers that are needed more and more all the time, friends? Let's just say more, period.
Yeah, so as of 2020, there's about 58,000 certified athletic trainers around the world, which actually isn't a whole lot. I know that sound like that number's big, but if we're considering globally, that's not a whole lot, because we got to consider that amount in America. In the Jayhawk Conference alone, in Kansas, there's multiple positions open right now. There's just everyone's leaving the profession because of the master's program. And like I said, the athletic trainers are just undervalued. They're underpaid. Athletic trainers get burned out. I was telling you before the show, I'm putting in 70 hours a week. And so put that on top of not being valued or appreciated. Athletic trainers are just leaving the profession. I've met and talked to multiple athletic trainers that are leaving because it's a high demand career. It's definitely rewarding, but you got to be where you're needed and wanted. So
sure. And you also told me you did some teaching. What do you teach?
Yeah, so I teach a couple healthcare classes for the business program at the college. Some of my classes include care and prevention, personal wellness, intro to health and human performance, weight training, and intro to sports and rec management. So.
Wow. I can see how you get 70 hours in every week.
Yeah, it's definitely busy. And, during football season last semester with the traveling and everything, I traveled with the Goodland football team. So you got to consider the hours traveling. So when I was a student at Fort Hays State, we would go to Joplin, and that's like a 6-hour trip one way. A lot of people don't consider that, as part of the job, just traveling, getting there. And then once you get there, you got to treat the athletes and then work the event and then treat athletes after. And then, just the outside hours of that. So a lot of people, if they see me on the sideline, they think that that's just what I'm doing at that very moment. A lot of times I'll go home and I'll think about the athletes. I'll think about their injuries, think about what I need to do. There's also documentation that we have to do, which takes hours upon hours to do. And so it's a very demanding sport. It's very time consuming. And so it definitely takes someone special to do it. But like I said, it's very rewarding. So
Now, when you're at the ball games or at the different sporting events, you're not just sitting there with your arms crossed waiting for something to happen. You're probably watching the athletes out on the field or on the court or wherever they are, and you can tell that, this is their ankle's hurting. Even if they say it isn't, you could probably read that within their actions, can't you?
Yes. So a lot of people, they think that what we do is just hand out water, tape ankles. And then, when and if I'm not doing anything, they'll come up to me and say, well, you look bored. And my response is, well, who do you want to be hurt so I have something to do, And so you have to consider that. And if I'm not busy, that's probably a good thing, that no one's hurt and no one needs me. But when I'm on the field, I remember when I was a student at Fort Hays, my professor, we were on the sideline, and he goes, what are you watching? And I said, well, the game, the ball. And he goes, no, you need to be watching everything else besides the ball. If it's at football, it was a football game. And he was right. And so you have to look at mechanisms. You have to look at everything else except the game, which I do get kind of, like I said, I'm very passionate about sports. And so I really get into it. But I'm not watching the game. I'm watching everything else. And so I'll let the fans watch the game. I'm looking for mechanisms. Usually it's after the play's over with is when you'll see the injuries, especially in football. But like with wrestling, you'll kind of see when an injury is about to happen. They crank on each other's knees and shoulders and stuff a lot. When basketball, they're going up for a layup or whatever, it's usually down by the rim that they're getting hurt with ankles, knees. So, and then it's the knowledge of what injuries are most likely in what sport. So, like I said, with wrestling, it's going to be knees, shoulders, basketball, ankles, knees. And so if you know that, then, we kind of know what we're looking for. So,
well, just a lot of activity there for sure that you take care of. How can people reach you, Holly, and learn more about this?
Yeah, so my contact information is on the website for Northwest Kansas Technical College. My number's on there, my email address, and people can reach out, ask questions. I have a lot of contacts in Goodland, and so I'm sure if anybody asks, they'll probably send you to my direction.
All right. Very good. Holly Wilcoxon with us today, trainer at the Goodland High School and the Northwest Kansas Technical College. Thank you so much. Good luck, and let's hope we get more trained athletic trainers coming in on the field and coming in on the courts and sidelines ready to roll.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. And that is our Tech Talk for today on the Rockingham Radio Network. I'm Curtis Duncan.